religion. It is mind-boggling how so many people can believe in something, but they know nothing about it. They just know like 4 or 5 verses, and that's it. That's the extent of their religion. Ignorance is bliss in that world. Number 3, they are completely intolerant. Now again, I'm not saying all, but there are some Christians that are very intolerant. Either you do it their way or you're going to hell, you're a piece of shit person, you'll never amount to anything, they put you down, they treat you like shit because they don't agree with your lifestyle. And my whole thing is live and let live. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, why would you care what I do? The same way with other people. If they're not hurting anybody, I don't care what they do. If some person likes to sit at home and look at goats butt naked in the shower, who the fuck cares besides goats?
Well, me kinda. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Okay. Another video. I have some stuff to say. Welcome to the Heart of David. I have some things I want to talk about before I get into this video. And, I was just looking for a video. I thought, why not look at people who don't like Christians, who hate Christians? Don't ask me why, I just thought it might be interesting. And then I found this. This one is hard to stand, let's say. I wouldn't have been able to do a video like this before because I would have... A beginner Christian would have a very hard time with this. It's the intensity of this person. There's just a lot of anger. Before I get to this, and when people are really angry and stuff like that, and they're shouting at you and whatever it is they're doing, and pardon me for the swearing that you're gonna encounter in this, and the name of his channel. This was 11 years ago anyways, guys, but hey, his channel's still up, so I have some things I want to discuss before I even get to this video. Just give me a second here. It's interesting, but not good. Good for us, but not good for other people. I have a kidney stone moving right now, and I wondered, could I do this video? I like keeping busy, so I have a kidney stone in this video. I'm irritable and I'm agitated, so it makes it even hard to do this video. You say, why are you eating if you've never seen my video before? This is the only time with my pain disorders I have to sit down, and so it's the only time I can really speak like this. I still watch, so this is what I want to talk about. I still watch American politics, but only about 10, maybe 15% of what I did. I want to know what's going on in the United States and the rest of the world for that matter. I've watched American politics in particular so I'm 45, 27 years. I can tell you I've never seen it anywhere to what it is right now. Times are so good. No, I'm just kidding, they're not. With this coming eclipse, and I tell you, I'm not the type of person who usually looks at signs like eclipse or whatever, but learning how it's only going to be the 9th time in American history since 1776, considering our times, considering what happened after the last one. All hell broke loose after the last one, right? I can see the political tensions are so high. They're acute. It looks to me, if I were to diagnose, if you asked me what what my personal opinion was. By looking at American politics, listen, your border's wide open and no one's doing anything about it. Why aren't people standing up? Why isn't the United States South gathering in the hundreds of thousands and building their own border? Why aren't they doing something? I understand they're starting to try to do stuff now. And it's just, America is falling apart, and I understand they're being attacked. I get it. They're pushing these agendas, like they're calling people who believe in God white supremacists. Think about that. It couldn't be further from the truth. These global elites have taken over. Unelected people like Joe Biden are completely compromised. Completely. Look at what he's done since he's been there. If anyone second guesses if there's nothing wrong with them, I don't want to speak to you, sorry. If you don't get it by now. I've never seen such evil in a country. And and it's the United States. There's just, it feels to me like he's compromised in a way that people have stuff over him. Political favors, whatever. I have no idea how he didn't get impeached. Or how he isn't. We're dealing with communists, guys. That's it. This is unthinkable just 20 years ago. The people in power right now in North America, Canada, and the States. So Canada's no better. I could show you the stats. I'm not going to. I saw it just yesterday. In 2021, we let in like 240,000 migrants. I'm going to have to recheck that. I forget if it's illegal or it doesn't matter. Just listen to the number. There are probably people coming in for work, which we need. And yes, obviously you can say that people aren't having kids, right? I know that. But it jumped from 21 to 2021 and 22. They're virtually the same. Sorry, 22, 23. You wonder why people can't. And I was one of them before I moved out in this apartment. I couldn't find a place to live because they were so expensive, and they've gotten a lot more expensive. From 240,000 people a year, and remember Canada's population was around 38 million or something like that. Now it's at 40 to 500,000. It doubled. Per population, Canada is letting in more people than your migrant crisis. That's big. There are so many emergencies. They don't answer questions. They don't feel like they have to answer a single question. So this is what I think. You know how far this goes. All the disasters, all this predictive programming type of stuff, all the evil, spiritual, Super Bowls, Grammys, whatever award shows. It's in Britain, it's everywhere. People are worshiping Satan everywhere. I think the United States, so that eclipse just kind of, I think there's going to be a civil war. That's what it's pointing to. That's what I believe. I can't imagine how much anger there is in the South, or just in the States in general. 50% of the population they're calling white supremacists and this and that. I don't think people are going to be able to take it anymore. And by the way, I've known that this would end up in a civil war somehow 2 years ago anyways. People are messed up now. There's just a lot of people, a lot of sick people out there now because of all the propaganda, all the LGBTQ. It's causing a lot of damage in people's minds and their ideologies, and it's being pushed by everything to do with the internet. It's the internet. It's the internet. If it wasn't the internet, they would be putting it on the paper sheets on the walls. You get my point, right? Like hanging Stalin pictures and Mao Zedong and things like that, because that's what they did then. I'm sure that the people who regularly watch me understand this already. Do you know where I live? I'm going to say a couple things before I start this. Canada has horrible health care, whether you know that or not. We do. At least we have free health care. You got to see our hospitals. They are so packed. It takes like 12 to 15 hours. Sometimes it can be 4 hours, but it can be 15 hours to see a doctor. Good luck on seeing a doctor. For me, gastroenterology, because of what Moderna did to me. It took over a year just to see a gastroenterologist. We have the biggest housing bubble in all the G7, and houses like maybe 10 years ago, say they were $500,000 or $200,000 would be $500,000 now, and a $500,000 home is like $1.2 million. Nobody can afford homes. They let in so many people, and they wonder why. It all happened under Justin Trudeau. I don't know why people voted for him, because at the beginning it was because he was legalizing marijuana. You know, right before they get to the ballot and, you know, people ready to vote, they start giving these awesome promises like debt forgiveness, right? There's just another lie from Joe Biden. But I've seen enough from them to know their fruits, right? This world is coming to a head, and now is a good time to know Jesus Christ, because it's you just have to look at the people. This is what happens before a war. This is what happens before a major war. What you see right now is much like what you see before, let's say, World War II. There's a lot of stuff like this, but not like this, though. These are the days of Noah. Just like it said, people are evil. Continually, they're violent. Oh, the other story I was going to say in the U.S., pardon me, I'm not getting to this yet, but stories of these illegal migrants. I heard from one source. This was a verifiable source. It was either from Kevin O'Leary or the guy from Valuetainment, about a billionaire from Venezuela who has been in the States for quite some time. He's done quite well, so his word is probably good. He claims that 60% of the people are coming in. You look in the videos, they're men. They call them military age men. That's the wrong term. They're just men from let's say 17 to 40 and older, but they're mostly men, that they're criminals. And so people are like, oh, that can't be 60%. Yes, it is. I just heard today that Venezuela, Cuba, all these countries that have issues with gangs and all that type of stuff. I don't think El Salvador, but I know what they did there. They've been emptying. You wonder where these men are coming from? They've been emptying their prison systems out and dumping their problems on us. That's what's been happening. These migrants, who are just people, right? There are people who want a better life. But we're talking about violent criminals here. People are starting to find them. I don't know if they're busing them, but they're finding their ways into like small towns and stuff like that. People are afraid to leave their homes. This is where we are. This is how a war begins. Can you imagine like upwards of like, so they say it's like 10 million, right? And in the Biden term, when they took away Title 42 away. But they think the probably right estimate is around 17 million. Wow. That's crazy. That's insane. How do you expect to... This is where we're going, guys. I believe it's why you're seeing an eclipse. You're going to see an eclipse. God is judging the United States. You might call it what? Pre-wrath, whatever you want to call it. But it's happening. Anyways, let's get to this video. I'm really not political, guys. I'm not. It's more of what's right and what's wrong. You don't see me talking about one side versus another. I'm just a Christian. I believe in God. I just, right from wrong. And so with this video, give everyone the benefit of the doubt, where they're coming from, and just know that I'm irritable and agitated in this. So here we go.
Hello, and welcome to the Church of Fuck You. I'm St. Patrick. Well, I've done a video before called the Top 5 Reasons People Hate Christians. And while I really like what I said in there, the video is of such poor quality that I decided to do it again. And I figure, hell, if I'm going to do it again, I might as well add some more shit to the list. So now, it's the top 10 reasons.
Started to get quite angry. Maybe God made the quality of it bad because of what you're saying.
People hate Christians. Are you ready? I'm going to try to keep this fast because I don't want to have like a 20-minute video. So let's go. Number 10. Ridiculous proof. Now, we've all seen people or talked to people who say the most ridiculous things as a way that their God, as a proof that their God is real. They'll say shit like, well, who made the trees? Or, who made the sun come up? Well, actually, the earth is rotating, and by the time it gets to a certain point, it looks like the sun is rising, but in all actuality, the earth is rotating to the position for you to see the sun. Which brings me to number 9. They completely reject logic. Any logic...
Okay, so number 1. I know you guys know what verse will come to mind, at least the major one. So let's tackle this. Have you ever had a really bad day? Let's just say you're feeling really bad. You're going through a kidney stone, right? And then, or whatever hell it is you're going through. And then things start to get better, and you're like, oh, thank God, I can lie back now. I can do that kind of thing. Or it could be in any situation. Do you ever see the world a bit differently after that? Could you go to, I don't know where he lives, but could you go to Niagara Falls? Could you go to the Grand Canyon? Could you go to these major places and say that something great didn't make that, or look up so much power in that, or take a walk out at nighttime like I like to, and look up at the stars, see full moon and all that type of stuff. Well, Romans 1, what would this person might say back to me? They might say, well, I knew you were going to read a scripture about this. Well, according to God, this is what he says. Romans 1, God's wrath on unrighteousness. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who, what? They suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so they're without excuse. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts. And their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools. Excuse me. And changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like corruptible man, birds, four-footed animals, creeping things. Therefore God gave them up to uncleanliness and the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their bodies among themselves, who exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason God gave them up to vile passions, for even their women exchanged the natural abuse. What is okay? So, so I got my point across. That's what God says. So for what I just explained about the Grand Canyon is enough. I'm able to love someone. I'm able to love a woman, love me back. That's such a beautiful thing, like that we came from some puddle, or, something doesn't come from nothing. So you wonder why some people are able to comprehend that immediately, and some can't. And so, like I'm not, he's in that category of not being able to discern that. And obviously it's the hope that he will be able to. That was 11 years ago, that video he's done here. So let's hope that he's turned his mind. And one thing that I'm finding in my journey is maybe a few years ago, I'd be like, screw that guy, but I don't want to be like that now, because we have to understand that people just don't understand. They just don't. Is it a predestination thing? I believe in predestination. It clearly teaches it, but I also believe in choices too. I believe in the both of them. People come on here and do these things, and you have to wonder why they're doing them, right? They must have something in their history that's making them so angry. But maybe some have justifiable reasons, and I'll explain those in a bit.
That you can bring up as far as the Bible or Christianity, or why there would or wouldn't be a God, they completely ignore it like it doesn't exist, because all they have is their faith. It's so irritating to talk to anyone of faith and they completely throw logic out the window, because how can you have any conversation without logic? Number 8, they insert God.
I agree and disagree what he just said. I believe that there are people who talk about logic, and I'm willing to talk about logic. So in that case, like I'm able to say, yes, I have faith, but on the other hand, I can understand why you would look at this building and not think of God and think of other things. Many Christians are unbendable. That is the truth, right? We certainly know that there are a lot of hard-headed Christians that aren't willing to discuss and rather get in fights.
God into every crisis. I don't care what it is. If it's a windy day, if it's an earthquake, it's a tornado, whatever. It's always, well, this is God doing it. Now, I'm not saying all Christians, now let me throw that in there. I'm not saying all Christians on all these, but there are a huge portion of Christians that perform these acts, and it's fucking irritating. Stop throwing God into everything. It's not making people believe, it's just making people hate your version of God even more.
Did I mention the eclipse?
Number 7, the double standards. It's amazing how they can do something, but you can't. You know, they can curse, but if you curse, oh, you're going to hell. If they curse, oh, well, I'm forgiven. Really, people? I mean, can we have just one flat out line of whatever you're supposed to do and not do? Stop this double standard bullshit. Number 6.
Okay, what you just said, I completely disagree. I don't understand that logic. Maybe some Christians are like that, but that's not one I really hear about. We all swear, I think, at some point. And to be honest, like, I'm not out that much anymore, but I certainly was earlier in my life. I didn't experience stuff like that. Would Christians point stuff out like that? I'm sure they would. And I don't think he's explaining. Where's he getting all this stuff from? Is he hanging around a church? I don't know. So that's just not something that those are really legalistic things. I don't know.
They are extremely arrogant. It kills me to no end how Christians act like their life is so much better than yours because you have God. I'm sorry, because they have God. They act like they are 10 times better than you, even if they have nothing, even if they amount to nothing in life. They're just better than you because, you know, they have God. And they look down on people. And again, I'm not saying all, but some Christians actually look down on people because they have God and the other people don't. And they have this smug ass attitude like, I'm better than you. From all of us to you, fuck you. Fuck you.
This is why I kind of didn't want to do it, but want to do it. Causes me anxiety to hear stuff like this. It really does. How do you talk to people like this? Like, maybe he came out of a cult. No. This is a personal opinion he has, which, you know, in me and my personal life and the people I know, do they do that? No. It depends how you look at things, and it sounds like, to me, it's the way he's looking at other people. It sounds like he's judging other people. Not to say that there aren't people out there like that, right? Like I said, legalistic people who are arrogant. But in my own life, I don't look down at people like that. I want to help people. I want to talk people. I want to talk to people. I'm not like that. You also have to remember, you know, there are Catholics, there are Christians, there are Protestants, there's many different denominations, and there's many different attitudes. There's just a lot of stuff. You can't lump some Christians. The question is, are Catholics Christians? That's for another video. Because of Mary worship. But let's keep going.
In your version of God that you believe in. Okay, you're not better than anyone just because you believe in some mystical creature in the sky. Number 5.
I don't think I am.
Ignorant. There are so many Christians that have no idea what is going on in the world. But even worse, there are so many Christians that have no idea what goes on in their own religion.
It's just the other way around.
It is mind-boggling how so many people can believe in something, but they know nothing about it. They just know like 4 or 5 verses, and that's it. That's the extent of their religion. Ignorance is bliss in that world. Number 3.
Okay, what he said there was something that is true. I never did that in my own life because, if I ever did, I'd probably look pretty stupid because you can't really defend yourself if you only have that many verses. A lot of people do that, especially in the YouTube world and any place you can leave a comment. Yes, you absolutely see it on the street when people judge you lest, be judged, right? John 3:16, like the usual one type things. So he's right about that, and there are people like that. And what I haven't mentioned yet is with every group on earth, not Christian, not just Christians, in every single group that exists, well, maybe not all, but most, like 95%, let's say, there are certain types of people. There are communal narcissists. There are people who only are out for themselves. There are all different types of people. So I believe the way he's looking at people is judgmental in itself.
Three, they are completely intolerant. Now, again, I'm not saying all, but there are some Christians that are very intolerant. And either you do it their way or you're going to hell, you're a piece of shit person, you'll never amount to anything, they put you down, they treat you like shit because they don't agree with your lifestyle. And my whole thing is live and let live. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, why would you care what I do? The same way with other people. If they're not hurting anybody, I don't care what they do. If some person likes to sit at home and look at goats butt naked in the
live and let live. Is that so? I see what he's saying. Again, I don't know what angle he's coming from. I can't tell. It almost sounds like he lives right beside a church because he's got so much to say about and a lot of experience. So that's my guess, that he grew up in something like this. And who knows what church he grew up in, right? Who knows? Maybe it's a prosperity gospel or something like that. Pardon me a sec. I don't go out and judge people. It doesn't mean that I don't think certain things in my mind. We wouldn't be human if we didn't do that. But I don't go out and point out people's flaws. I don't actively go out and do that. Live and let live. Say that to the days of Noah, right? Say that to Canaan when they started passing people through the fire, everyone having sex with each other all the time. Oh, that sounds so great, right? Men with men, women with women, and I don't even want to go further than that. And that's what's on the southern border, by the way. Oh, which reminds me, I didn't watch the rest of Sound of Freedom. I started watching it. It was for free on Prime Video. So, a walking advertisement. So, live and let live. I mean, I understand that's good on paper, right? So it's communism. But I think God's ways are the best. And I'm not telling people what to do either.
Shower, who the fuck cares besides goats? I mean, I just don't understand how they are so in everyone's business and dictate everybody's life off their own choice of morale. Number two, again, I'm sorry if I'm rushing, but like I said, I don't want this to be a long ass video. Number two, they don't even follow their own beliefs. Jesus say help the poor. They don't help the poor. Jesus say help the sick. Jesus say help the orphans.
He's
Jesus
mostly
say,
right.
Do all these things to help people in life, and yet they do nothing. They sit in their houses and they just bash and put down everybody that comes across their path. And again, I want to keep reminding you, I'm not saying all Christians, but there are a lot of Christians that do this shit. They don't even follow what Jesus say, yet they want to go around and dictate and try to impose on everybody else's life to follow what he says. How about you try that shit first? How about you show us what a quote-unquote good person is supposed to be, and then maybe people will start following suit. But you being an asshole, you get no one to join your little organization.
Okay, so a lot to say about that. The question is, the people that he's talking about, are these people saved? Because if they're truly saved by God, he would not be saying these things. And I don't want to talk about my personal life, what I do to help people, what I do in those things. I just don't think it's a good thing, unless it's, I guess like a video like this. But I think most saved Christians are like that. Again, he doesn't understand what it's really like for a saved person who really loves God. If all Christians were like that, then I don't think he'd be saying any of this. He wouldn't be saying any of this, because his anger is coming from, not just from the things that they're doing and not doing. So I'll just stop there. Saved people look much different than the unsaved. And we know by there's a wide, broad path to destruction, and most go that way. And that little narrow door is found by those who really love God and really follow his commandments and believe in him and believe what he's done. Those people, I think, are easy to spot. You shall know them by their fruits.
Being an asshole. Try following what Jesus said, perhaps. Number one reason, and this is, again, my personal number one reason, they force their religion on everybody. And that is so fucking irritating. Stop trying to impose your will in government, in schools, everywhere else. Stop trying to impose your will on what you feel the moral standard or the moral code should be. Because if we go off Christianity for, thousands of years of killing people, of raping people, of putting people as slaves,
Pardon for all the stop, I'll get lost if... Take a look around. I mean, I just have to... So even though this was 11 years ago, this still rings as true. What are you talking about, forcing? So again, where is this? Does this guy live inside a church? Does this guy live with people who are associated? Because they took prayer out of school, out of this, out of that. And this was 11 years ago. So he doesn't... maybe he has kids now, right? Maybe he has kids now. Maybe he's a guy standing up against all the porn books in libraries, for all I know. This is where it's gone. And I think this is perfect me doing this video because it's 11 years ago. And look, what he's saying, it got so much worse. He has no idea in this video just how bad things have gotten. And one of the reasons is because of the great apostasy. That's what I believe. The church is completely dropping, the ground is dropping out. People believing all kinds of garbage. They don't know God anymore. It's been taken out of everything, and the internet is the reason.
Can we even go to the Catholic Church and them raping children to...
Good point. So I had to stop there. I am not in Catholicism, and that's one reason. Yes, they are embroiled in hundreds of millions of dollars of lawsuits. But guess what? People tend to go to Catholicism to blame everything on. The Dark Ages, listen, the Dark Ages, they weren't letting us read the Bible. They would burn us at the stake. They would chase us. They would, even if you had a Bible, they would kill you, or you had to turn it in right away. You'd be punished. These are the people I've come to dislike. You can't speak for all Christians like that. Pardon me, Shaq. He's right about the Catholic Church. It's too bad that happened. But guess what? You know where Revelation says, "Come out of her, my people"? That's, in my personal belief, what God is speaking to. Come out of Catholicism. That's 1.4 billion souls, whether they all believe or not. There's a lot of bad stuff that happened in there, and they ruled for a long time. Look, it's unfortunate. A lot of bad things happen. But you're, again, lump summing. I'm not Catholic, and a lot of people aren't. And a lot of people who are saved, well, are people saved who are in Catholicism? As for another video, I think, I'm sure many are. I just can't speak to that because of their own ideology inside Catholicism. But I get what he's saying. But here's my point. Just because they're wearing a priest uniform doesn't mean they're bad. In every single group, in every single brownies, beaver, whatever, police officers, there's always going to be a group of people who are in it to abuse it. And just because they're a pastor or a priest, you can't pick on them because of that. But, the Catholic Church, you can, because it has been quite bad. Like you hear so many different things about it, right? Like it's just never ending, and it's a shame. It really is.
Bishops down in Georgia or whatever the hell he was, raping little boys or molesting little boys. I mean, do we even want to go there with the moral code as far as like who has the better code? Please stop enforcing or trying to enforce your bullshit ass rules on the rest of the world. We don't want Jesus. We don't care what you feel like your Jesus is or does or whatever. Keep that shit to yourself. If we want to join the clique, we know how.
You say that now. Take away the Christians. You take away the Christians, you're going to lose the salt of the earth, as Jesus said. We are the salt of the earth. And when you lose the saltiness, you lose the flavor. It'll just rot. You would live a Babylon with no believers in it. What do you think would happen to it? It would implode very quickly. It would turn into what the United States is turning into right now.
How to get in. It's not that fucking hard because they let a lot of stupid people in. So please, keep it to yourself. All right, man, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is St. Patrick.
All right. When you have a kidney stone, kidney colic, everything, it just seems so intense. I may seem calm to you, and it's because of my anti-colic meds, but when I saw this at first, it was more not in control, and it seemed to me he was a lot more angry. This is my synopsis of this. I think maybe, and I got to make this point because this is, like, if you're saved, right, or you're trying to get saved, right? From a saved perspective, I understand what he's doing. I thought at first like this was just out of anger, but I don't think so anymore. I think he's putting some valid points forth that are worth answering. The first question is, what upbringing did he have, and what has brought him to this point? Where did he go to school? Did he grow up by a church? Did he grow inside a church? What kind of church was it? What were they teaching? There's many factors, man. I don't know. I just sense a lot of anger. And as a saved Christian, you're not speaking about me. You're not speaking about the type of people that I know. But I understand about the people you are talking about. So I guess just like the end of my synopsis would be, you're talking about the wrong Christians here. And the question, are they Christians at all? Because the word Christian is someone who is well, that could be an argument, but someone who truly believes in God. And listen, we all have faults. Yes, there are certainly times where I learn day by day. Let's say my brother asked me to go out. Okay. Because my life has changed from being saved, I find it harder to be in the world. And I'm sure you guys understand that. And I noticed a lot of things that the people I'm with, a lot of things, not that they don't matter, but they're just things that kind of don't matter to me anymore. Like I don't, let's say my brother is talking about a pretty woman or something like that. I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to get into this conversation. We're just worldly stuff. Anyways, I'm probably going down the wrong hole here, but I get where this guy's coming from, but he's very angry. That's what I'm getting out of this. But out of it, I say, anyone who watches this video, pray for this guy. Pray for this guy. Who knows? Maybe his... Oh, this was the other thing I was going to say. So, why do some people turn out a certain way when they're in Christianity or they're affected by Christianity, and they hate Christianity so much? Come on here, make an angry video. Why do they do that? Why can't I not find a path to God and start studying prophecy, start reading the Bible? I heard John MacArthur say this, and he's right. And I heard other pastors say this too. And by the way, I don't listen to any particular pastors like all the time. That's not the way I do it. In most cases, it's something that happened in their life. Case closed. That's what it is. They had a bad experience when they grew up, and it turned them away from it. Just one bad thing. In that, I would call that pretty judgmental. But I don't know his story, so just laying out the facts here. Thanks for watching, guys.